You will be shocked by the 2024 Nvidia stock predictions if you watch the entire video. There are companies that are essentially a steel vault, and anything you learn about Nvidia in the last few weeks has been made up. For example, the company's market value starts the day at around $2.50 trillion, a lot less than it was before. But now that we know that the percent game was completely fraudulent, it's like, no, it did have $1 trillion almost lopped off. Shiz, the market cap took a hit it. Did the multiple got up there right? But remember, this is always in a mult. You have to think about this as a previous mot, like you realized that the company was selling in 17 times your year. And there's been this argument, it gets back to of the larger one, that at some point they're going to hit a wall, or at some point the spending will hit a wall, not in 2025 certainly, not this year what's left of it, but perhaps in 26 or 27 where the hyperscalers they're done, yeah. But you know what that mean. You do a discounted cash valuation of this company, and are you willing to pay the multiple? And that certainly seems to have circulated some of that. You're right, affected the stock. I want to ban the term hyperscale at this point, because no one ever understood. It's like yen character. What the hell is what you're right? It's like, what is who made that one up the hyperscaler? You did know, but here's what I see. What should we call them? Well, I like tech titans, which is what they call is a network. How about just giant planet-eating companies? The reason Meta had a great quarter was because he figured out how to use Meta AI. I don't know if you're using Meta AI, but I've switched completely to it. I no longer use Chat, Gemini Club, or anything else on Bomb. I love it. It's the oh my god, it's so great. It's so much better than the other companies. I like that. It's kind of like Stephen King, like Planet Eaters, that one. All right, the P's already taken. It's coherent, but there's no appeal, no like, wait, what platform do you use it on? In other words, what are you going to use? I type in Meta AI. It's pretty interesting. It's like typing in Google, and it comes up. It's really easy. They have 3 ads that you have to deal with, which you just ignore, and then you're like, compare the Roth IRA versus a traditional IRA, please. It's so concise and excellent. Then I can pull a million. By the way, that's why I always say, I could be your AI if you want. What was the question C asked? I don't know, where's David Faber's daughter going to college? Oh, she chose certain. She looked at 4 schools, and he said this no, meaning, what am I supposed to do? How do I demonstrate prowess? Now that I have control of the board, I'm just going to return to your favorite Nvidia because the stock is up 2 and 12%, which is what they do with these daily options. I believe the company had a good quarter, but we have no idea. No idea? Okay. When I say alphabet, no idea, I mean that they lose this case, which I've worked on a lot with Apple. Have you ever noticed how the kids complete their daily options, lineup, and DraftKings? Is there anything different every day? Yes, DraftKings is more rigorous, but that's a crucial aspect of the stock market's gamification. No younger people are involved when I speak, though, because this past weekend I was at a fantastic wedding for my friend Rob Brad's son, and I constantly ask people what's going on. And the younger people are doing zero options on Nvidia and on whatever is just the hot stock of the day. Instead of asking if anyone had invested, nobody did. But it doesn't matter because Monica and Michael had a fantastic wedding. But there was no real substance to anyone's trading. Yeah, it might as well have been daily fantasy, and we've been going that way for a long time. I mean, the average investor in mutual funds continues to decline, I think, but we should point out that Qualcomm is down 6 because of rumors that Apple is integrating more correctly and may not need. Qualcomm app's been trying to integrate for ages, hasn't really worked. Broadcom should not be down unless you think that there is other, because again, data center. If you think data center's bad, because he has made several, including buying more of one of today's leaders, and that is NVDA, probably the reason in and of itself. While tech is one of the only 2 sectors in the green today, why you add to this, if you remember, we did trim Nvidia back at 130, and I jumped the gun last time. I was there on set with you and we had that post-Fed rally, and started buying back some Nvidia 115 area. So when we saw that move last week, I really do think that there was some capitulation. We saw the unwinding tech. Everybody's covered it over and over again. But I think that spike in volatility really lays the great groundwork too. Nvidia top-off positions in portfolios when we were trading around $100 to finish out the week. Bren, you got Nvidia. Obviously, I think our viewers know that by now very well. But what about buying more here and what's been a reasonably unsettled stock? Yeah, well, as I said, I think last week I closed out all of my covered call positions in Nvidia. I agreed with Bill. I think it got washed out. I have a really nice position in here in Nvidia, so I don't need to add here. I really like the price action of Nvidia going into earnings at the end of the month because there is a lot of concern. There's been some technical damage, and I feel pretty confident that Jensen's going to come out and deliver it because Mark Zuckerberg said he at SAR across the board have all told us or buy Elon Musk all of their chips. And so I think it's going to be a great number. I think that's a really good add at these levels because I think at the end of the month, we start seasonally long positive quarter for the market. I like Nvidia. Here at 109, welcome back to the exchange for earnings. Nvidia shares are up almost 5% today and over 9% despite last week's sell-off. Although some investors were wary of the big AI name due to the volatility, our next guest saw the dip as a buying opportunity and increased his stake significantly. Let's bring in fast money trader and Grasso Global CEO Steve Grasso. It's good to see you, Kelly. Yes, this could have happened. I'd always enjoy looking back and seeing that you're correct. Since I hold Nvidia, I'd appear excellent on a micro level, even though this was a binary occurrence that might have gone extremely wrong for me if the macro market had dropped off. My average was in the 120s, I should say, and I increased that position a lot. Now my average is about 102, so that's how much I was buying on that dip. Again, the market could have gained more strength during that dip. It could have sold off more sharply, but it didn't. So once I started to see the market solidify for Nvidia, I really leaned into that role. What is the exit strategy? Well, I usually trade around a core position when people follow me on Twitter or watch me on Fast Money. This means that I have my core positions and then I trade tails around them. In this case, the tail actually became the core, so I believe that the stock will likely trade back up to the 120 range. And in the short term, obviously 115 was just a blink of an eye from where it was today. The market needs to do well, in my opinion. Market doesn't perform well. This is definitely a momentum stock, but I think you're going to see a 120 print sooner rather than later in the name, yeah. 'Cause I wonder not that the bloom is coming off the rose, but that there's a sense when you see Apple Intelligence coming out without being trained on NVIDIA chip, I'm going to use some of these other rollouts that don't necessarily require those big expensive workhorses. Are they kind of telling people that there's a way to participate in the AI rush without it necessarily being that NVIDIA share price doubles and it becomes a $6 trillion doll company? Or whatever have we kind of dialed that back a little bit? I wonder, yeah, I think that's it's a valid premise. But when you think about it, they still own 85% of the market share in AI. So maybe to the extent of the chip that's going to be used could change just depending on what sector of the economy that you're in. But ultimately, if you want premium, you're going to go with Nvidia. Everyone that we heard from in large cap tech is spending more money on semiconductors. We've got you covered if you're sick of paying exorbitant subscription fees for exclusive material. Visit our website to access more than 5,000 top model collections. With us, you may access limitless entertainment without having to worry about recurring payments or paying for premium content. Why pay more? Select us now to avoid worrying about future subscriptions.